The one thing that has changed since my husband's passing, well, one of the one things that I have to constantly remind myself is my level of expectation. This is a hard one for me because I have a high expectation of myself, especially of others around me. I have a high expectation and standard for my children. And for those of you that watched my coffee chat yesterday and commented that my children should help more than they do, I just want to tell you something. I'm gonna make this loud and clear. My children are also grieving, and we're trying to figure out this whole new life. My expectations of them have changed than they did prior to my husband's passing. And until you've experienced that, everybody's experience is different. If they become a widow or they lose their father, and how they lost their father, how long they were able to process it before his passing. My husband passed suddenly, so it was a very big, unexpected, traumatic event for me and my children. I just want to tell you how amazing they are. I'm going to come mama bear for a minute. They're amazing. My oldest son moved back home to fulfill a role that he did not have to fulfill. He came home to honor his father and transferred schools locally so he could be home to help. And we're figuring out and navigating this new life together. My other three children are in high school, and they're trying to keep somewhat of a normalcy in their life because it's healthy to do, and trying to figure out how to navigate and help their mother. Yes, there's extra chores. Yes, there's extra things to do. And yes, they do those things. But that still doesn't negate the fact that we're missing the biggest piece of our family tree. And so I just want to encourage you that, like, sometimes, some people just need to kind of share how they're feeling and what's on their heart. And my message yesterday was, it's okay to not be okay. I didn't say it's okay to stay there. I just said it's okay not to be okay, and to realize that sometimes. My kids are amazing. I do not expect for them to rise to the occasion of taking care and filling my cup as a widowed young mother. That's not their job. They're not a parent. And I'm trying to keep as much of a normalcy as possible for my children, because I think that's what they need the very most. Doesn't mean they don't have chores. So I want to say that real quick. So my expectation of just how life is different from the expectation of rolling to church on a Sunday morning and now having a seat missing. I didn't want that in my life. I've had to pivot a lot from those expectations of maybe how I show up on a daily basis, and giving myself grace to know that, like, I can't do all the things. And sometimes the things that I used to be able to do without, skipping a beat, it takes me a little bit longer now. And I'm having to navigate some of those emotions, raw emotions and feelings that I never would have ever anticipated having to deal with. So it's a constant balance of my expectations, and not giving up in those areas, and not pulling away on those expectations, but realizing that I have to pivot in those expectations, because my kitchen may not be as clean as it used to be. My house may not be as picked up as it used to be. My yard may not look as good as it used to be, because my husband used to do an amazing job. But that doesn't mean that we're not doing the things, right? So my expectations had to change, that I may not be able to show up the way I want to show up when I want to show up, because I have to give myself grace in the process of trying to figure this all out. It's not a life that I ever asked for, never a life that I ever thought that I would live. And so this was a huge, unexpected, traumatic event for me that I'm trying to constantly pivot and constantly try to figure out what my next step is. But I know the Lord's with me as I get ready for church this morning, and out the door with my kiddos. Life isn't the way that I expected it to be, but that doesn't mean that God doesn't have still a beautiful plan for me and my family and my children. And so I really appreciate your encouragement and your prayers. And I want you to know that if you're in the same boat as me, or you're feeling downtrodden this morning, that to let go of those expectations of what things used to look like. That's a whole nother coffee chat. It's about surrendering those every day and realizing that you're walking in those new expectations of what the Lord has in store for you. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to proclaim the goodness of God over our lives and what He's got still writing our story. So I hope you have an amazing day. Have a great Sunday. Be blessed.